What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we're going over Solana as its price does prepare for what I believe to be a very big move, and of course I want you all to be as prepared as possible for that. So let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into today's video. Now, looking at Solana, I have been tracking this sideways movement for about a couple weeks now, and comparing it very similarly to what we were seeing over the last few months before this whole FTX situation did occur. Let me show you some of the comparisons. Well, what we can see is that back here, Solana saw a bit of a bounce back to the upside after a relatively strong correction to the downside. We came back up and we touched this $48.42 level, in which we did touch back here, putting in something of a cup. Now from there, we came back down, we saw the higher low established and a return back up towards that level to put in what I believe to be the handle. And I said that if we break this cup line, hold some support on it, we could be in a fantastic situation to finally see some growth. But if we're unable to clear this level, we could be in a position to see a bit of a continuation back to the downside. Now from that, we can see that we did get rejected off of that level and we were unable to clear it, forcing us back down to the 618 to 786 zone, in which we had tried to establish support. We tried, but once we eventually lost it, we really lost it, and then we saw that mixed in with the FTX news. It led to a strong capitulation back to the downside. But what you can see is that this move to the downside was already in progress before that happened, because we did lose this 618 to 786 box, which usually signals that we're going to see some type of correction back to the downside. Okay, now let's make the comparisons here. Okay, what you can see is that we did get a bit of a bounce. We put in this high here, we came back down, we put in another high, we got the higher low, and we came back to retest it, but are currently getting rejected at it, not being able to complete what could have been a nice little cup and handle pattern here. So remember, we had 3 touches back here, 1, 2, 3, and then, this pullback to the downside, and now look where we're at right now. Okay, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, and then the pullback to the downside. Now, not only are we seeing a similar pullback to the downside, we're seeing the same pullback to the downside. We came back down and we touched this 618 to 786 zone and held support on it before looking to bounce out of it, and that's what's happening right now. You can see here, we came back towards this 618 to 786 zone. We're looking to hold support on it right here, maybe get a little bit of a bounce, but obviously nothing is guaranteed that this bounce will sustain itself, and we could see some type of capitulation or another move back to the downside, extremely similarly to what we saw back here. Now, if we do look at the RSI as a bit of a reference to compare these two, we can also see that there are a lot of similarities here. Whenever we did get this big move to the downside back here and put in this low, throughout this little time frame, while we were going sideways and relatively down, we were seeing this RSI somewhat trend upwards, right? We were having these higher highs and some of these higher lows, but the price just simply wasn't reflecting that. It was either going sideways or just, trending downwards mostly. Now you can look and see what we're seeing right now on Solana on a shorter time frame perspective, something very similar. We're either going sideways, depending on how you look at it, or a slight trend downwards. And with that slight trend downwards, you can see that our RSI is trending upwards, again, very similarly to what we saw back here on the larger time frames. So because of all of this, I am starting to get a little bit skeptical that Solana may see some type of capitulation relatively soon here. Now, the way in which you can track how this move is going to happen is going to be by watching your range. Remember, guys, the whole goal of technical analysis is not to be right, but it is to be prepared. So let me prepare you for anything that can happen here. So the first thing, let's talk about the pull to the downside, okay? How do we identify that? Well, the way in which we're going to identify that is by marking 2 key zones of support. We're going to go with $11.72 and we're going to go with $10.91. That is your 786 level to the downside, and then that's also your range low. If we lose the 786 level to the downside, 1168, there is a very strong likelihood that even if we do bounce back up a little bit, that we're going to come back down to reach this $10.91 level. That is almost always what happens. When you lose that 786 level, it opens up the door for you to revisit the low that created this range. And so because of that, I would get very aware and very cautious if at any given point you see the price come back down below 1172. Now, even if it does lose 1172, as I mentioned, we still could see a bounce off of this 1091 level, but that is our last stand. If at any given point we lose $10.91, this thing probably is going to see some type of hard correction back to the downside, and we can even measure to see how low it might go. what we're going to do is we're going to open up our Fibonacci's here, and we're going to open up the 1.272 Fibonacci extension. So let's get this pulled up here, and then the 1.618 Fibonacci extension. These are your two levels where you can expect the price to likely extend to before pulling back up towards the upside somewhere. My guess is that if we lose 1091, we're coming straight down towards $10, which is a strong psychological level, which could represent a fall of, I mean, that could be another 7 to 8%. And if we lose that level, obviously we are aiming at 1.618, which could be about 16% to the downside as we go to retest the $9 level. So what this tells me is that the $10 level and the $9 level then become the next two main points of significance. And if we lose 1091, those are likely the levels in which we're going to extend down to. So you need to be prepared for that. Can you short your way down there? Yes, you can. Just be very, very, very careful, because in a situation in which we are this low, every time you short, you are taking on the risk of, shorting at a bottom, and we start to see a rally, and then next thing you know, you get liquidated and lose a lot of money. Okay. So although there are short trades here, be very careful. Personally, I may just do a little bit of accumulating at some of these lower levels, expecting to see some type of bounce to the upside, especially if we start to put in some type of descending structure here, because we usually break out of them to the upside. Now, the way in which this would be invalidated, the way in which we would say, okay, maybe Solana isn't in trouble, is if we break $15.29. If we're capable of breaking $15.29, we're then in a position in which we've cleared this little range of resistance that has acted as a massive barrier for growth. And if we're capable of doing that, it does open up a big door for us to likely come back up to return somewhere around this $20 level, if I had to guess. And so overall, I think that there can be a lot of growth potential here, but it must clear $15.29 first, and it does not seem to be even close to getting to that point. So overall, pay very close attention to this range. Yes, I am saying it can go up or it can go down, because that's what technical analysis is. Like I said, it's not about being right, it's about being prepared. So prepare these lines, prepare your orders, and do understand that once we break this range between 1172 and 1091 right here, or this 1502 level up here, we're very likely set for a big move in either direction, and we need to be able to take advantage and capitalize on it. And before we do go ahead and wrap up today's video, I actually wanted to let you guys know about something that was pretty damn interesting to me. Now, you guys know on the channel here, as a bit of a side quest, we like to look for different giveaways and airdrops and things of that nature, things that I think can make you some extra cash to invest, especially during the bear market. And I have one that's pretty interesting for you today that I thought you all would like. And now, this is a giveaway being done over by Global Gaming Token. They are a partner of the channel. I'm going to explain how you can win this, but some of these prizes are up to $500, which I think is important, especially right now. But what this is going to be focused around is the GG token itself, which is kind of the native currency of the GG International ecosystem. Now, GG International is someone you've probably heard of when talking about lottery development. What they do is they build the software that enables companies to, provide lotteries within their games or metaverses or just a lottery in general. And so they do a lot of white label work, especially for their company White Lotto. And then they have their own, of course, lottery system itself at gg.world. You guys know I don't encourage really gambling of any sort, but it is something that is a huge business, and they do a fantastic job at providing companies with the ability and the software to do so. And because of this, they have now come up with their own token, which will kind of be the native currency of all of their ecosystems. Now, not only that though, they are also going to have a bunch of their partner companies who are going to take on GG as a payment method. And it's all of these different companies here, which will be provided in the link in the description. But you can see they are growing a lot in popularity right now. Now, because of this, they are doing a giveaway. And if you do come to the gleam.io link that I will provide down below, if you complete all of these tasks, you will get points. And the people who get the most points will randomly be picked to win between $500 and $50. So overall, it seems as if the company itself has a lot of potential because there is so much utility with the software that they provide. And so when you mix that in with the fact that they are going to be coming out with the token and are giving away a good bit of cash, I think it's something that'd be interesting to take a look at. So definitely let me know if that's something that would interest you, and go ahead and check out the links down in the description below. So with that said, that's going to be about it for today's video. And of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know easily and simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all next time. Peace.